Welcome to Craft Chat Chronicles, the go-to podcast for tips on crafting best-selling fiction. Here at Craft Chat Chronicles, we bring you expert interviews, insights, and tips on writing, publishing, and marketing. Join the conversation and embark on a new chapter in your writing journey. For workshops, show notes, and more information, visit jdmayall.com. That's jdmayall.com.
Is Holly Race. Holly writes fantasy with a political edge. Orbit has recently preempted her Tudor Queen's fantasy in a six-figure 3-book deal. This is her adult novel debut. It's called Six of Crowns. It's a fantasy reimagining of Henry VIII's wives that's fiercely feminist. Today, Holly's going to talk about writing, publishing, what it's like to debut as in the adult world of writing now, and much, much more. So if you want to learn a little about writing craft from somebody who just recently sold a book in a six-figure 3-book deal, here's the place. So listen and learn, and Holly will talk to you all about publishing, her debut process, and so much more. Enjoy. Season 2, Episode 2 of Craft Chat Chronicles. Hello. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing well. Very good.
That is an excellent background.
So you're in the UK?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. How is it over whereabouts are you? I forget whereabouts EST time zone is.
Georgia. It's like New York time.
Okay, cool. Never been to Georgia. Been to New York, but never Georgia. What's it like to live in?
Hot country.
Fair.
So tell me about your life before books.
I spent about 10, 15 years working in kind of TV and film as a script editor. So I don't think there's really a strong equivalent over in the US in kind of Hollywood, but script editors and development executives in the UK sort of come up with ideas for TV things and find writers and talent and kind of pitch to broadcasters and channels. So I guess it would be a producer over in the US, but yeah, it's like development executives, script editors over here. So I spent about a decade doing that for various companies like Aardman Animations, who do the Wallace and Gromit films, and Shaun the Sheep, and working title films, and then Red Planet Pictures, who produce a crime drama called Death in Paradise, which I think has made it over to the US. But yeah, so that's what I was doing before becoming an author. Got made redundant back in 2017, and a couple of weeks later found out I was pregnant. Was like, oh, well, no one's going to give me a job now, so I may as well focus on writing this book I've had this idea for, and then kind of never went back.
That's awesome. Tell me the story behind the story. How did your current novel come to be?
Current novel, basically, I had a YA trilogy that got published in the UK basically over lockdown. So the first one came out during what was the first lockdown here in 2020, and then the next two books in 2021, 2022, and kind of dead on arrival, basically, thanks to lockdown. And it was a bit disheartening having spent so long writing them. And so I kind of sat down and thought, right, think about what stories you love, and the kind of topics you love, and think about what might be actually commercial and stand a chance of kind of getting a bigger deal. And I've always been a massive Tudor nerd. And so I was like, I wonder if there's a way of kind of doing some kind of fantasy feminist retelling of Six Wives of Henry VIII. And given the number of retellings of kind of Greek myths out there, I was like, I wonder whether this could be kind of the next thing, a step beyond that. And so, that was kind of how the idea was born. It was very much born out of a very dark place where I thought that my career was completely over. I'd just been dumped by an agent after 3 weeks after signing with them. And so I was like, oh, it's looking quite bleak right now, but maybe, yeah, think about what could kind of rejuvenate your career.
Love that. How did you get your first agent?
First agent was through a thing called the Faber Academy, which I don't know if it's that well known over in the US, but Faber Books, the publisher over here, and they run lots of writing courses. And the biggest one is or I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be like a 12-month writing course in London. And at the end of it, they kind of throw you into a room with a load of agents and you have to read a scene out of your work in progress. And off the back of that, I had a couple of agents email me and ask to see the whole manuscript. So when I finished it, I sent it to them, and kind of only them, and got a couple of offers and went with one of them, essentially. So very, very smooth process that did not repeat itself over the coming years.
And with your second agent, how did you get to your current agent?
My current agent is not my second agent. My first agent ended up moving to set up his own agency, and I ended up staying with his assistant because I really liked her, and she had been the one sort of taking care of me most, so I stayed with her. Then she ended up being made redundant from her role and leaving, and I kind of got handed over to a third agent at that agency who didn't pick me, I didn't pick them. It was like, yeah, this is fine, but not long term. And then when I was out of contract with my YA trilogy, I sort of got back in touch with the second agent, and she had landed at a new agency, but it kind of didn't have the vibe that I was looking for. It sort of represented very different books from the kind of books I wanted to write. So I sort of said I wasn't going to move in the end. So I then approached an agent who I knew had read my first YA book and seemed to be doing really exciting things, and had a meeting with them, and they said that they'd love to represent me. So I signed with them, and then 3 weeks later, before we'd even really worked together at all, they phoned me up and were like, actually, I've had second thoughts. I'm really sorry. It's not going to work. And that was when I had the idea for Six Wild Crowns, my Tudor fantasy, and just went kind of did the querying the proper way, I suppose. Sent it out to about 15 agents, I think. When I kind of got it to a place, I was happy with it, and got, I think it was something like 12 full manuscript requests and then 8 offers of representation in the end. So yeah, it was nice to have that sort of like little ego boost after being dumped, basically.
Do you remember any of your query of the pitch part?
Yeah, I do. I do have my query letter here, actually. Where is it? Here we go. So I pitched it as a feminist fantasy retelling of the 6 Wives of Henry VIII, set on an island ruled by a king who must marry 6 queens in order to protect his kingdom. When Queen Boleyn realizes that something is amiss with the magic of the island, she and the other queens must overcome their differences and the manipulations of the king and his advisors to take back their power. So that was kind of my elevator pitch for it. And then I talked a bit about my childhood obsession with the Tudor period, and the fact that when I was 17, I wrote a play called Boleyn and made all of my friends act in it. So deep Tudor nerd. And then, talked a little bit about my background. Didn't mention getting dumped by my agent after 3 weeks, just said that I had sort of parted ways amicably after my YA trilogy, and that I was kind of looking to restart my career in adult and crossover rather than YA.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. How did you get the news that the book had sold? Oh, actually, first, tell me about the call. What was your call with your agent like when she loved that wonderful pitch and wanted to represent you? She was an agent, the agent that I kind of had at the very top of my wish list. So when I got my first offer of representation, I hadn't heard from her at all, not even a full manuscript request. And so I emailed her. I was like,
I've had an offer of representation. Do you think maybe you might like it? And she got back to me fairly quickly after that and was like, oh yes, do send me the full. And then, so I sent it to her about 6 p.m. One evening, and the following morning at 10 a.m. she emailed me and was like, I've read this overnight and I love it. Can we meet up and talk about it? And I happened to be going into London, which is where she's based, a couple of days later. So we met up then. And yeah, she is also a big Tudor nerd, which I think helped us bond. And I've had a couple of agents sort of say, oh, could this maybe be a standalone, because standalones are easier to sell? And I was a bit like, oh, I guess, but I would really like it to be a trilogy, because I want to be able to tell, basically each novel is told from the point of view of two of the queens. So you kind of get all six queens' point of view across the trilogy. And she really liked that idea, and was like, yeah, it might be a harder sell, but I think there's justification for it being a trilogy because of that. So let's go for it. And she didn't kind of like do a hard sell at all or promise. I think my very first agent, I got a little bit drawn in by and we could do like VR games of your book and put you in touch with this Hollywood actor and stuff like that. And I was a bit like, oh, wow, okay, amazing. And there was none of that with her. She was just like, I'm going to put you in touch with a couple of my existing clients, and you can talk to them like without me like in the frame at all, so you can get honest feedback. And I think this is really commercial and sellable, but obviously I can't promise anything. But yeah. And then when I spoke to her other clients that she put me in touch with, they all said kind of the same thing, that she was incredibly loyal and just like had their back and was in it for the long haul. And those things were all really, really important to me after my previous experiences. And I just wanted someone who I could feel really safe with, and who, if the book didn't sell well or sell at all on sub, that I wasn't going to feel like I was about to be dropped or become less than, basically.
And what's your agent's name? Did you say? I don't recall if you did.
Sorry?
What's your current agent's name? Did you say? I don't.
Zoe Plant at the Bent Agency.
Okay,
yeah, because obviously the Bent Agency has offices in the UK and the US, and that was also quite important to me because I really wanted to break into the US.
I love that. What do you think are the essential elements of a good retelling?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think greatest hits of, if there are moments that people think they know from the original story, like the bits that everyone thinks they know, then being able to put your own spin on those, I think makes for a really good retelling. And I think something that makes it a bit more modern, I suppose, a reason for it to be retold now, as opposed to just like same old.
I love that.
What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't done a retelling yet. I'd have to research. What do you think makes a good opening? How do you hook your readers in the beginning of a story?
I think you want to make them ask questions about the world, about the characters, but also to give a kind of indication of tone straight off the bat. So my first sentence for Six Wild Crowns is, her wedding dress is the colour of the massacre of Pilvreen. And like that line came to me before I had any idea what the massacre of Pilvreen was at all. But once I'd written, I was like, okay, well, I've got to figure out what this massacre is now. But I feel like that's quite intriguing opening, because it kind of says you're sort of landing in the middle of a story if you're landing at a wedding, but it's not necessarily a traditional wedding because the dress is red. And it's already mentioning kind of like death and danger and massacres. So hopefully that gives you an indication of what is to come.
Definitely would have made me read on. You heard that? I love that. A great first line. How do you avoid the saggy middle? How do you keep readers engaged all the way through?
Oh man, I wish I knew. I'm going through that with book 2 at the moment. I'm like, oh, this is awful. How do you write again? I mean, I think raising the stakes as much as you can and making things really difficult for yourself to write, so just like force yourself to write your way out of it, I think is probably a good way, because I don't know, I'm a bit of a planner, but I really admire the people who plan completely and can still manage that. Because for me, I need to, I think, like tip myself off balance at those points and shake things up a bit and, like, I don't know, kill someone off or have someone introduce a new threat in order to, just like keep it interesting and kind of keep the momentum going.
I love that. I try to be a planner. I try to plot, but it's never 100% for me. It's like 70%, and then the characters take over.
Yes. Yeah, right. I have a friend who does a like 30,000 word outline of her book. And apparently it makes it incredibly easy and quick to write the full draft. But I just don't know how she does an outline in that much detail and still manages to create a book that is like fresh and peppy. Because if I did that, I would just be like, I know everything that's happening. I don't know. I think you're right. I think sometimes you need to be able to let the characters take over a bit, don't you?
What do you think makes a compelling, captivating ending? Hi, JD Mile here. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to thank you for tuning in and to let you know that this episode of Craft Chat Chronicles has been brought to you by Heart's Gambit, my debut novel. It's available for pre-order right now at barnesandnoble.com. What is Heart's Gambit, you ask? It's about 2 time-traveling families, 1 cursed magical duel, and the pair of star-crossed lovers who might break the cycle if they don't break each other first. If you love the time travel romance of Outlander and the lush, haunting magic of the night circus, this is the book for you. Pre-order Heart's Gambit today at barnesandnobles.com and grab your copy when it hits shelves on February 3rd, 2026, wherever books are sold. Again, pre-order Heart's Gambit today at barnesandnoble.com and grab a copy when it hits store shelves on February 3rd, 2026. And while you're at it, don't forget to buy a copy of today's guest book and support their projects as well. Support authors, support bold stories. Now, back to Craft Chat Chronicles. Let's get chatty.
A compelling ending. For me, my endings are always bittersweet. So personally, as a writer, I find it really hard to write endings that are full on kind of like happy, although I love reading books that have full on happy endings. I think it kind of needs to give the reader what they want and expect in some ways, but then have a little edge to it in others. So it's just got a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of a bite to it that people maybe weren't expecting, but still kind of like feel satisfying in all the rest of the ways.
I love that. Back to your publication journey. Can you tell me how you got the call? Like, how did that go? So tell me about submission first, and then tell me about that.
Okay. So I did a couple of rounds of edits with Zoe over the course of like 2-3 months. And then we sent out to the UK and US at the same time. And, as anyone who's been on sub knows, it's torturous and you have to kind of like try and distract yourself with lots of things until the torture like lessens a little bit. I'd been fully expecting sort of months and months of waiting because that's what I had with my first trilogy. In the end, we got our first kind of like bites of interest after a week or so. And then about 2 weeks after going on sub, I was actually in a cafe doing some writing with a friend, and we were both like deep into our writing when Zoe called on my phone, and I literally like looked at it, and my friend looked at my phone, and she was like, "Is that?" I was like, "Oh no!" And so I like answered the phone, and Zoe was like, "We've got this preempt, and it's good. I want to talk to my co-agent in the US when she's up, but I just wanted to let you know and gauge your thoughts and stuff." And it was one of those moments where I really wanted to be like, but I was in a cafe. It was really quiet, so I couldn't. So I think my reaction was a little bit more muted than maybe she'd expected. But I got off the phone and like told my friend. We were like, this is really happening. So yeah, that was amazing. We ended up saying no to that preempt, and asking them to come back to us with a better offer. And in the meantime, we got another preempt. But then that first publisher came back with something even better, and for UK and US rights rather than world rights. And so that's when we said yes to them and no to the other preempt. That was over the course of like about half a week, I think. So it all happened really quickly in the end, which I know is not normal, and I will never expect that ever again, quite frankly.
And did you have a call with the editor?
No, no, I didn't. I'd heard really good things about her, which has been completely like borne out by my experience with her. And also I kind of felt like the book was in a good shape, and I wanted the publisher, and I wanted a publisher who I knew were going to market it well and had a really strong vision for it, which they did. So I was kind of like, I don't really see the need to have a call before we accept. Let's just accept and then we'll chat later. And so we did that. And so far that has worked out really well. Again, I know I'm very lucky there, but yeah.
And what imprint were you with again?
Orbit.
Orbit, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Exciting.
Yeah.
Have you done any planning for your launch yet?
Not yet. I mean, launch is May next year, so we've got a little while. We're hopefully going to get proof boxes out in the next few months, which is exciting. And we've nearly finalized a cover. It's like this close. So yeah, I'm having sort of like meetings with my publicist in a month or so. So hopefully we'll get more of an idea of what the plans are then. But yeah.
Awesome. What has been the most exciting part of the debut experience so far?
Good question.
Or the biggest learning experience, whichever one you prefer to answer.
I think it's kind of really hard for me to say this time because of course I'm not strictly a debut. I'm an adult debut. I would say my actual debut, the most exciting part was seeing the cover for the first time, and the biggest learning experience was understanding how important having a network of fellow writers around you is, which I didn't really have for my first book, and I only cultivated that over the course of like the next few years. So my second and third books. I would say my most exciting part of this debut experience has been getting the illustrator for the cover. It's all about the cover, isn't it? I don't know if you've done the same thing, but it suddenly feels real when you start to kind of like get a visual on that cover.
I haven't got the cover yet, so I don't know.
Oh no. Okay, well, you've got it to come. What's been your most exciting experience so far?
I guess finding out that it was going to sell.
Yeah.
Because submission, like you said, is hell. And it took mine 12 days to sell. And I was really optimistic the first 7 days. And then after that, I'm like, oh, it sucks. I'm never going to sell. It's over before it started. So melodramatic.
It's hard not to be there, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've poured that much of your soul into something.
Yeah, the hours, the time,
Exactly. Yeah. I find this time round I worry that I am a bit of a like grump for Orbit, because whenever they kind of come to me with like, oh, we've got this exciting bit of news, I'm just like, yeah, we'll see. Because like my first experience was so like, everything amazing is going to happen, and then it didn't. And so I'm just like, I'm just not going to get my hopes up until I actually like I'm holding something in my hands.
That's cool. How about are there any tools that helped you along the way as far as with the writing or the editing or?
I think the shitty first draft and understanding the value of a shitty first draft has been the most important thing, because there have been so many times where I've sort of hit a wall. I don't know about you, but like the sort of 20,000-30,000 word mark, that seems to be fairly common for writers. Just being like, this is awful. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I don't know where I'm going. Is it worth carrying on? And I think learning that actually you just got to get to the end, even if everything else is a total hodgepodge. And then it's only when you figure out where you're going that you can figure out the rest of the journey properly. But you have to sort of make that journey in a weird route in order to get to the ending, and then you can go back and find yourself a nicer path, I suppose. So yeah, just like forging ahead to the end and being really strict about seeing it as a job as well. I think it's very tempting, especially when most of us have other jobs alongside the writing, to kind of push it and be too tired to do it and be like, oh, this is really hard, I've got writer's block. But actually, it is a job and we're getting mostly paid for it, and like, yeah, treating it as a profession, and you wouldn't sort of like not do your job on a day when you were supposed to be there and you weren't sick. So just gotta like, yeah, get to the desk.
True. So you don't use like Scrivener or anything like that?
I use Scrivener. I don't think I use about 90% of its tools. It's
okay.
Yeah, I have that. I use the like little session timing and figuring out how many words a day I'm supposed to write in order to be able to meet my deadline. But that's kind of it.
I haven't tried Scrivener yet, but so many people talk about it. It's got me curious.
I like it. I like it better than Word, but I think that's quite a low bar to exceed. It's useful for being able to jump between chapters. But yeah, I'm sure there's loads of it that I just like haven't got to grips with at all. And if I did, then I would think it was amazing.
How about social media? Do you have any plans for like social media and how you're gonna like present it when the time comes?
I have a few plans. I recently got I love cooking and baking, and I ordered a load of Tudor cookbooks off Amazon. And so I was like, I wonder if there's sort of like a little TikTok reel to be done about like different Tudor bakes and experimenting with that. And yeah, maybe.
That's a great idea.
It's a lot of work though. I have a limited amount of like, I'm nearly 40. I don't properly like vibe with TikTok. So we'll see. That's the plan. It might not come to anything.
Love it. Are you writing full time or are you working as well?
Yeah, I am writing full time now. I wasn't until I got this deal, but this deal has meant that I've been able to, which has been really nice.
That's a blessing. That's a good thing. What advice do you have for aspiring authors?
I feel like all my advice is going to be quite like other people have said it much better, but find the sweet spot between writing what you love and writing what will sell. I think that's quite a tricky thing, and it sounds really cynical, but I think if you want to be traditionally published and in a way that doesn't feel kind of soul destroying because you put it out there and it, you know, if it doesn't sell well, it's going to mostly sell well because your publisher invests a lot in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to make that happen, you've got to create a book that is worth investing a lot in it because they think that it's commercial enough. So I would never, ever advise anyone to write to a trend, because that's just going to be soulless for everyone involved. But if you can find a way through a story that you love, or a kind of era or a character that you adore, but make it super commercial, then do that, because that's, I think, going to be the way that gives you the best experience of a traditional publishing journey, I would say.
I love that. With both of your publishing experience, both of your debut experiences, what was the biggest hurdle you had to get over?
Second book syndrome. It's so real, and it never goes away. Like, I thought, having written one trilogy, that the second trilogy would be piece of cake, but no, the second book syndrome is still there for this one as well. Yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest hurdles. The other one is the realization of what I just said, of that that traditional publishing is a business, and they want to sell and make money, understandably. And so you are making a product, not just something that is born of your soul, basically.
I love that. What's the writing community like in England?
It's really nice, really nice. I'm based in Cambridge, and it's mostly kind of like science and tech bros over here, but there's a small group of writers based in Cambridge, and we're really supportive of each other and kind of turn up for our launches and our events and things, and have like little write-ins in cafes. And then London, obviously, there's a huge number of authors. Cambridge isn't so far from London. So my experience of it so far has been just incredibly supportive and welcoming and open, and writers who I kind of was like scared to approach because they were so big have been incredibly friendly. So it's really nice. And I guess because the UK is relatively small, you kind of feel that sense of community quite well around the country.
I love that. Tell me something else about you that we haven't covered, or that you think readers would be excited to find out.
Something we haven't covered. Well, that reads, I have no idea what readers would be excited to find out. I live in a Bridgeton era house. It was built in 1819. We moved in last year, and it's it's a bit of a wreck, basically, but we're slowly doing it up and kind of like reintroducing all of the old Georgian and Regency things. You can see I've got a little fireplace behind me.
Cute fireplace.
I think it's sort of like Victorian, this one. We need to find a Georgian one to go in there instead. But when I'm not writing, I'm plastering walls with old lime plaster filled with horsehair and stuff.
Exciting. What's up next for you? What are you working on after this series? Have you thought about it yet, or are you still?
I have lots of ideas, as I think a lot of us come up, you're sort of like, oh, I'm in this contracted book, but shiny new idea over there. I've got a few ideas, but I'm waiting to pitch them to Orbit once Six Wild Crowns comes out. Because obviously with a 3-book deal, it's going to be a while before I'm able to get to that, basically. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of ideas for more fantasy and speculative fiction.
Adult or YA or both?
Adult. I have an idea for a YA crime that I would quite like to write, but I don't know when I would get round to it. But yeah, I think probably mainly adult now.
Exciting. You said that your book launches when again?
May next year.
May next year. I know mine comes out in fall of next year, but I haven't been given like an exact month.
I only found out because I saw it on Amazon. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. I'll put that in the diary.
So how have you been liking the experience of being in the 2025 debut group so far?
Nice. It's a lot. a lot of new messages every day that I'm struggling to keep up with a bit. But yeah, no, it seems like a really nice bunch. How about you?
Same. It's a lot. Sometimes I get overwhelmed because I'm like one of those weird antisocials, like most of us. But I try to force myself to read them and to try to catch up, even though it is a lot, because it's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are helpful in that way.
Yeah.
Have you met anybody from the group in person, or are there any?
Yeah. So I met Modupe Ayinde, who's another Orbit author, who I think is in that group. Met her for an Orbit party last week. We went to have dinner together. That was really, really nice. And then Georgina Stewart, who's a crime author, and she's based near Cambridge. So we've met up a couple of times as well.
That's awesome.
How about you?
On Zoom, but not in person.
Did you basically get inundated with us being like, hi, me, interview me?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to, reach out to as many people as. Tell me about the party though. What's that like?
Oh no, it was really great. It was their 50th birthday party, basically. So they rented out a space in London and, had all of the all of the obligatory book things, cupcakes, tote bags, arcs. Yeah, it was lovely. It was busy, and like loads and loads of Orbit authors came from all over the UK. Nice speeches, just kind of got to meet a few more authors, and yeah, it was really nice.
That's awesome. Is there anything you want to say that we haven't already covered about like writing or publishing, or advice to debuts or aspiring writers? You've debuted twice, so I'm sure you have some jewels.
I think aspiring writers read a lot, and that's a bit of advice that's always given, is reading a lot. But I would say, I would add on to that, read a lot from the last few years in your genre. When I've done some kind of book editing and query editing work in the last few years, and a lot of the authors that I've kind of come across they've got really good ideas for stories and everything, but all of their comps are from sort of like 10, 20 years ago, and that's not going to be so sellable or interesting, I would say, to an agent nowadays. So I think for aspiring writers, it's make sure that you're reading the modern classics as well as the classics in your genre.
I love that. Where can people connect with you?
I am on Instagram at Holly Race Books, and on TikTok at Holly_race. And my website is www.hollyrace.com.
Awesome. You feeling like
you mentioned in an earlier email about cover. I mean, I can show you the cover as it is. I don't know if there's any questions that you had about that. Right. Where can I find?
Did you see The Other Sister?
Did I see the
movie The Other Sister?
The Other Sister.
It's about Anne Boleyn.
Oh, The Other Boleyn Girl.
Oh yeah, The Other Boleyn Girl. You're right.
Yes. Yes.
I love the movie, but forgot to say it.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Incredibly historically inaccurate, but very good movie. How can I add this? Okay, let's see.
My daughter, my middle child, is a history buff. That movie got her so angry.
Which eras of history in particular?
She likes all of it. To be honest with you, she reads like she read the book Making Bombs for Hitler and stuff like that. So she, she's in high school now, but so she reads a little bit of everything in the historical. She watches historical, like the YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Nice.
Ooh, this is gorgeous.
Cheers. The dragons are going to be, the top left dragon is as a little bit awkwardly positioned at the moment, so they're just doing some work to that, and then hopefully we'll be there.
Okay. When you get the final copy of it, email me that.
Yeah,
because I'm going to send that in with the interview and some headshots when you get those and all that good stuff.
Can
It was
do.
awesome meeting you.
You too.
You live so far, I'd say we could do lunch one day.
I know, I know. Well, if you're ever over in the UK, let me know.
Will do. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And let me know if there's anything that I can do in return next year when it comes to like pushing your book as well. Awesome.
I'd appreciate that. Also, if you're ever in Philadelphia, I'm co-chair of the Drexel University MFA program.
Oh, amazing.
If you're ever in Philadelphia, you wanted to do some events at Drexel, or there's we're partnered with a really nice brand new Barnes & Noble in the middle of Rittenhouse Square, which is like a fancy suburban area in Philadelphia. So, I could hook up that location and stuff too. So if you're ever in the Philadelphia area, reach out.
Nice, will do. Thank you.
Or Georgia, I'm here. I don't have as many connections in Georgia though. I just moved back. I'm more helpful in Philadelphia.
Okay, got it. Amazing. Well, have a really amazing rest of the day. No, sorry.
I was trying to say bye, but I froze. I don't know. Have a good day.
That wraps up today's Craft Chat Chronicles with JD Mayor. Thanks for joining us. If you liked the episode, please comment, subscribe, and share. For show notes, writing workshops, and tips, head to jdmayor.com. That's jdmayor.com. While you're there, join JD's mailing list for updates, giveaways, and more.